Have you ever felt like you've missed your chance? Like the train has left the station and you're just standing on the platform, watching it disappear? That's exactly how Sarah felt on her 45th birthday. Not with a bang, but a quiet, deflating sigh. Her life, once a picture-perfect puzzle, was now a pile of scattered pieces on the floor. Just a year earlier, Sarah had it all. The loving husband, Mark. The beautiful suburban house with the white picket fence she'd always dreamed of. A stable, if unexciting, job as an administrative assistant, a role she'd held for 2 decades. Her 2 kids were grown and successful. On paper, she was living the dream. But dreams can be fragile. It started with a text message she wasn't supposed to see. A classic, heartbreaking cliché. Mark, her high school sweetheart and partner of 25 years, was having an affair. The revelation shattered her world. The ensuing divorce was brutal. The house had to be sold. The financial settlement left her with far less than she'd anticipated. To make matters worse, the company she worked for downsized, and her stable job vanished overnight. So there she was, at 45, living in a tiny, one-bedroom apartment that smelled faintly of her neighbor's cooking. She was single, unemployed, and felt utterly invisible. Her friends, all happily married, tried to offer support, but their pity felt like sandpaper on her raw emotions. "You're strong, you'll get through this," they'd say. But Sarah didn't feel strong. She felt old, tired, and defeated. The phrase, "it's too late," became her constant, unwelcome companion. Too late to find love again. Too late to start a new career. Too late to build a new life. One rainy Tuesday, drowning in job rejection emails and cheap instant coffee, Sarah hit rock bottom. She scrolled through social media, a masochistic parade of other people's perfect lives. Then, she stumbled upon a photo of herself from a college trip to Italy. She was 20, beaming, covered in flour from a pasta-making class she'd taken on a whim. She remembered the pure, unadulterated joy of creating something with her own hands. A tiny spark flickered in the darkness. She thought, what if it's not too late? It was a fragile, terrifying thought. What if she stopped trying to rebuild her old life and instead built a completely new one? The idea was so radical it made her heart race. She had a little bit of severance pay left. It wasn't much, but maybe, just maybe, it was enough for a beginning. Ignoring the voice of fear screaming, "You're crazy," Sarah used a chunk of her savings to book a flight. Not to a resort, but to a small, rustic village in the Italian countryside. The same region she'd visited all those years ago. She enrolled in a month-long intensive culinary course. It was an absurdly impractical, financially irresponsible decision. It was also the best decision she ever made. Arriving in Italy was a shock to the system. She didn't speak the language fluently, she knew no one, and her tiny room above a bustling bakery was a far cry from her old life. The first week was lonely and overwhelming. Doubts crept in. Was she just running away? Was this a midlife crisis cliché in the making? But then, she stepped into the kitchen. The scent of fresh basil, simmering tomatoes, and baking bread was intoxicating. Her instructor, a formidable Italian grandmother named Nonna Sofia, ruled the kitchen with an iron fist and a warm heart. Sophia didn't care about Sarah's age or her divorce. She only cared about one thing: passion. Under Sophia's guidance, Sarah learned to knead dough until her arms ached, to taste the difference between olive oils, to perfectly shape gnocchi that were as light as clouds. She wasn't just following recipes. She was learning an art form, a tradition passed down through generations. For the first time in years, she felt present. Her focus narrowed to the feel of the dough, the sound of a knife chopping vegetables, the aroma of garlic sizzling in oil. The constant chatter of regret in her mind finally went quiet. She made friends with her fellow students, a young backpacker from Australia, a retired lawyer from Canada. They'd share meals, laugh over glasses of cheap, local wine, and explore the cobblestone streets together. They didn't see her as a divorced, unemployed, middle-aged woman. They saw her as Sarah, the one who made the amazing carbonara. One evening, after a long day in the kitchen, Sarah was sitting on her small balcony, watching the sunset paint the hills in shades of orange and pink. She realized something profound. For years, her identity had been tied to other people. She was a wife, a mother, an employee. When those roles were stripped away, she thought she had nothing left. But she was wrong. Here, in this little Italian village, she wasn't anyone's anything. She was just Sarah. And for the first time, That felt like enough. More than enough. The month flew by. On her last day, Nana Sophia pulled her aside. "You have the hands," she said, her English broken but her meaning clear. "And you have the heart. Do not waste this." It wasn't just a compliment, it was a command. Returning home was strange. Her apartment was still small, but it no longer felt like a prison. It felt like a blank canvas. The fear was still there, but now it was accompanied by a new feeling: excitement. Armed with a notebook full of recipes and a fire in her belly, Sarah started small. She began selling homemade pasta and sauces at her local farmer's market. The first weekend, she sold out in 2 hours. People didn't just love her food, they loved her story. She wasn't just selling pasta. She was selling passion, resilience, and the idea that it's never too late. Her little stall, which she named Second Act Pasta, became a local sensation. Word spread. A local food blogger wrote a glowing review. A neighborhood restaurant asked to carry her fresh pasta. The momentum was building. It was hard work, harder than anything she had ever done. There were 4 a.m. mornings, endless mountains of flour, and moments of sheer panic. But this time, the exhaustion was satisfying. She was building something that was entirely her own. Within 2 years, Second Act Pasta moved from a market stall to a small storefront. It wasn't just a shop, it was a community hub. She started offering pasta-making classes, just like the one that had changed her life. She saw the same light ignite in her students' eyes that she had felt in Italy. She hired other women who were also looking for their own second acts. Today, at 52, Sarah's life looks nothing like she once planned. It's messier, louder, and infinitely more joyful. She never remarried, but her life is full of love, the love of her friends, her employees, her customers, and most importantly, the love she finally found for herself. Her success isn't measured in square footage or a husband's status, but in the smiles of people enjoying her food and the quiet satisfaction of her own resilience. Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that the end of one chapter is not the end of the book. Sometimes, losing everything is the only way to find what you were truly meant to have. It's a reminder that your worth isn't defined by your age, your relationship status, or your job title. Life's timelines are a myth. It's never too late to throw out the map, follow a crazy idea, and start cooking up a brand new life. So, what's your second act going to be? Thanks for watching. If Sarah's story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiration. See you next time.